I'm Tom Manzi, training Bible coach right here in Bay Head, New Jersey. I live right up the block here. I also live out in Arizona, which I'll be headed out pretty soon. This is a chilly November morning here at the beach at Rapaloosa. And I'd like to talk a little about open water swimming and how to get yourself started in open water swimming and building up to one of your key long distance races we're talking about here today. One of the things I like to do with my clients who I coach is this time of the year, November, December, we call it prep period. We work on skills, mostly just skill technique in the pool, drills in the pool, no long sets, maybe 1,000 yards to the most 2,000 yards in the pool at this time of year, a couple days a week, and a lot of drill work. As far as the sets go, they might do 25s and 50s. Primarily, not any long sets for this next month or two, and just kind of develop this stroke technique. Maybe get filmed once in a while and see what they're looking like. Maybe cut down their stroke count and things like that. But that's kind of what I work on first. As we come more into the base periods, we start building up our endurance. And endurance, we try to do longest, maybe still 1,500-yard sets, 2,000-yard sets for base one, and work mostly on, again, technique early in the session, but we also do some intervals of mostly aerobic intervals where we don't try and really go too hard. Okay, so we're still working on our form. And that's one thing we work on for maybe, if they started now with me coaching, probably that'd be going on till January, into January, something like that. If they're A race, say sometime early summer or late spring, we would start base two. And base two, we start going a little bit faster on sets, what we call tea time pace. Tea time pace means you're 100 pace for 1,000-yard time trial. And they do T pace, maybe a little bit slower than T pace, because this way they're still working on technique. Okay. And we work on that and building up maybe up to 2,000, 2,500 yards, even 3,000 sets a couple times a week. Okay, and we'll work on that in base two, maybe even base three, continue that type of swimming. Then as we get more to the build periods, it gets a little bit warmer in the year, we go a little bit faster in the pool, but then we try to bring them to open water. Right here behind me is Bay Head Beach. We do open water swimming, okay, a couple days a week here in our groups, with sometimes 60 people at sunrise on Tuesday and Fridays. There are some other open groups off the Long Branch. They have open water swimming also, but here we have a really nice group that deals with some of the triathlon clubs in this area, and my clients come here, and I kind of organize the swims here. We try to get in open water maybe at the end of May, even in June. If it's too rough, we head over to the Manasquan River, which is just west of here, about a mile away, and we do our open water swims there. So we kind of do, I still like to see people in the pool, but maybe 2 days a week come down here to open water. And we work in the open water. What we do is we make sure no one's left alone. We also make sure that we group up in different groups, and we kind of, people ask me questions about technique of entering under waves, things like that. What we try to do is the stronger groups might swim non-stop, one direction going this way towards the end of Bay Head. A few of my buddies like Joe D takes that group, and they swim non-stop. They stop the jetty or regroup and they come back. Groups I stay with a lot because I'm working on technique, we go jetty to jetty. Behind me you see one of our jetties. Okay, we go jetty to jetty. There's about 5 of them all the way up here, and we try and kind of regroup at each jetty, make sure everybody's okay. Just talk a little bit at each jetty. Maybe talk a little bit. They want to ask the coach about technique. We talk about technique, but we build so much confidence doing that, and they do it a few times before they're open for water swim. So that's my suggestion. Work on technique early. Okay, work on building endurance in the middle, muscular endurance, which is a little bit faster sets later, and then come here to the open water swims. Okay, if you're in a different part of the country, you might have a lake instead of this beautiful ocean behind us. Okay, to swim at. Get into the lake, get into open water swimming. Try and swim with a group, or at least a couple of people. Try and swim with some experienced open water swimmers. Okay, and that's really all you have to do. You don't want to enter a race, not being prepared. The day of the race, try and show up the day before if you can. Okay, and do a short on-course swim. Okay, try and show up the time the race is going to start. 7 a.m. start, swim at 7 a.m. See where the sun is. Things like that. Like in Ironman Arizona, where I've raced, the sun's right in your eyes. Try and swim at 7 a.m. at Ironman Arizona course the day before. See where that sun is. Learn where the buoys are going to be set. Okay. Also, what you want to do the day of the race, get there early, get your wetsuit on, and the race director should allow a warm-up swim. try to get warmed up. You got to warm up. Get your heart rate from 80 to about 120 before you start. That's where we have a lot of our problems. There've been some deaths in Ironman races and long open water swims where people haven't warmed up. They jump in and the heart gets tricked, and then all of a sudden they hyperventilate and they end up maybe very few 10 times this happened. There have been drownings. So one of the reasons for it is no warm up. Try and get your heart rate up to about 120, and that really relieves you. During your warm up swim, try and exhale underwater. Exhale. Breathe here. Okay. When you exhale, you have empty lungs. Okay. Now your lungs are empty and you're more relaxed. Then you have the air be able to come in. So learn how to do that in your open water practice and also the morning of the race. Be prepared. Warm up 10-15 minutes, do a couple of quick intervals. Look at the buoys and things like that. Get out of the water. Now seed yourself. Okay, if you're, like Ironman still has some mass starts. They have tried to change that, but if they have a mass start, look around for people. Just say, if you swim 100 hour 20-minute swim, Ironman, get with that hour and 20 group. You don't want to go too much slower because you want to be able to draft a little bit too. Okay, but try and get with that group. Try not to get beat up during it. Try and back off a little bit, and just try and be smart. Don't ruin your race during a swim. Try and be prepared that you're going to be behind some good swimmers at your level and not get swum over back by some faster swimmers. And that's what's good about mass starts. If you seed yourself in a mass start, there's no more faster swimmers behind you. So you can stay with your group of 120, 125 swimmers, hour 25 finishes. If you're a sub 1 hour swimmer, you definitely want to get with that group. You're a good swimmer. You want to get on their feet and swim with the hand-to-hand combat. That's what you want. But if you're a novice or a little have a little trepidation about swimming with a group, just seed yourself, talk to each other. The cool thing about triathletes is they will talk to each other at the beginning of a race, and they will honestly tell you, hey, I'm a little nervous. I'm doing hour 20, hour 25. Okay, and that's kind of what the way you should prepare yourself for a open water swim, whether it's Ironman, whether it's a sprint, or whether it's a Olympic distance or half Ironman. That's kind of my advice. I've been around the sport since 1988, raced over 250 races, including 8 Ironman. I've coached over 250 people to Ironman finishes. So you'll see my email address up there when Rob publishes this. If there might be more questions, let me know. And I hope I helped you with this video. Thank you for looking at it, and stay in touch. And good luck this season.